In this video we're going to talk about configuration items. Now configuration items are one of the concepts of ITIL, which Service Manager is obviously designed around. Now within the concept of Service Manager, the configuration items tab is down here, and there's a number of configuration items that are pre-populated within Service Manager or get populated through connectors. So configuration item could be a computer or a server, and this will get populated through the Active Directory connector. Software is also a configuration item, but this will more likely get populated through a connector to Configuration Manager. Your users within Service Manager will also get populated as a configuration item via the connector to Active Directory. Now, configuration items are again managed through management packs, and they're created through management packs. And the configuration items have a kind of mapping to a database. So you have properties for a configuration item. So a software may have a version, a manufacturer, a license key, whereas a computer obviously will have something like a BIOS and RAM and processor. So each of these are properties within that configuration item. Going forward, when we do some more complex stuff with our creating new AD user, there's some limitations within Service Manager, and to get around them, we are actually going to use configuration items as a way of being able to enter information or hold information related to our creating new AD user. So before we start getting into complexities, I thought we should just learn how to create a configuration item from scratch, import it in and see what it's about. It's very similar to the previous video I did on how to extend the template for the service request. So I'm going to create a configuration item specifically for our switches. So we're going to come into the authoring tool, and we're going to create a new management pack, and we're going to call this switches. And if we take our class, we're going to create a new class from the configuration item class, and we're going to call this HP switches. Okay, so we're going to give this a better name and description here. Configuration item class to hold switch information. So if we look down here, we'll have, let's clear up some real estate. So we've been inherited from our base class, which is the configuration item class, a number of properties that we can use. And what we're going to do is we're going to create these properties specific to our switch. So we're going to create a new property. So the first thing we need to do is just make our key property. Okay, so we're going to call this our key, and we're going to make it auto increment, and we're going to keep it as a string. Right, next thing we're going to do is for our switches is we're going to have a serial number. We're going to have our port number. We're going to have our purchase date. We're going to have our IP address. We're going to have our model number. So now we've created our configuration item management pack for holding our switches. Are we going to save this? And we're going to seal this management pack. So we come over to our service manager and we are going to import that management pack. So we now come down to our configuration items. We can create a new folder, so custom configuration items, and in there we can create a view to see our configuration items. So I'm going to create a view. Okay, HP switches. And we're going to bring up all our classes. We've got our HP switch class there, and then we are going to have our columns that are on display. So we're going to have our IP address, and we're going to have total ports, model number, and this is going to create the view. So go into our HP switches, we can see we've now got our view set up. And what we can do is we can now create a new configuration item entry. So we can call this switch 1. So the asset status, which is inherited from the base class, so it's deployed, and we can pop in. I meant to rename the key to be BIOS name, so we can go and correct that quickly. So we will just save. Okay, so now we can see we've got our net BIOS name, our asset status, serial number, so we can create purchased last year, 24 ports, into switch 1. And now we've got that information stored in here. So we could do this for maybe our phones or specific information around about, specific information for assets that we have around the building. And this is like a really quick demonstration because it's really simple, but we are actually going to use these configuration items in a slightly different way for our next part of our videos. Thank you for watching.